Have you heard? Metro by T-Mobile now includes Amazon Prime. Yes, enjoy the best of shopping and entertainment, movies, TV shows, music, free shipping, and much more. All included for just $40 per line for 3 lines. All on the T-Mobile network. Discover the smarter way. Metro by T-Mobile. That's genius. One offer per account. Offer subject to change. $12.99 per month value. Offer valid for new Amazon Prime members. Metro customers may notice reduced speeds versus some T-Mobile customers. Video at 480p. Capable device required. See store for details and terms and conditions.
He also said that every generation needs a revolution, Jimmy. The American dream is just that. Just a dream. War is a continuation of politics, only by other means. Politics is a continuation of economics by other means. This is our bank. This is our war. And this is our plan of attack.
Banks have become an essential threat to our democracy. So consider this justice.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the internet. Please help support this station so this battle can continue forward. Revolution Radio! The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Aloha, everybody, and welcome to Stargate to the Cosmos on Revolution Radio at revolution.radio. And I'm your host, Janet Kier Lesson, with my co-host, Dr. Sasha Lesson, and our other co-host, Kevin Estrella. And today we are going to have on our show Sue Walker, and we're going to discuss Sue Walker's contact with the Sandia Grey ETs in Sandia Mountains, New Mexico. Go to aquarianradio.com. You'll see that they have a Twitter account. The Greys are twittering, and we have some pictures up there, artist renditions of what these gray aliens look like, and they are very cute. And they have personalities. And let me tell you a little bit about Sue. People around the world seek the psychic and medical intuitive advice of Sue Walker. She is an internationally known psychic and medical intuitive. For over 20 years, she has assisted individuals and CEOs of businesses, physicians, actors, and law enforcement agencies. Her psychic readings and medical intuitive readings are sought out for their high levels of accuracy and detail. She's frequently asked to investigate hauntings or paranormal activity. She's been featured in various publications, television documentaries, and radio appearances. Sue also conducts training seminars during the week because she desires to educate the public about various forms of psychic phenomenon, improving psychic skills, and exploring remote viewing, scrying, I don't know what scrying is, I'll have to ask her, or energy projection. So yes, she has a website, which I'm sorry, I don't have it here right now. I'll get that on her page on aquarianradio.com. And I'll have that link for you momentarily if I forgot it. We're also joined today by Kevin Estrella. So let's see if the gang is all here. Let's start with Sasha. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here, and there are you hearing me, Janet? I'm here.
I can hear you. Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, so basically anyone that cares to examine the evidence from many sources know that there are many different types of ETs that are here, most of them benevolent or at least neutral, but and certainly the Zeta Greys have been our allies trying to help us through the transition with wonderful hybrids that are here, and the awakening of ambassadors who are dual souls and so forth. And so it's really wonderful when we start to get people who are in direct contact with the extraterrestrials who are here to help us. So I'm really excited about today's program.
Yes, we're going to have a really good time. Kevin.
Hello.
Welcome. Aloha. Good evening.
Aloha.
How is it where you are? How's the weather?
Well, as we say here in Canada, how's it going, eh?
How's it going, eh? Yeah. Well, we're down here in chilly Maui, Hawaii, because it's been in the 60s, and I wanted to warm up. It's spring. Come on, let's get on with it. But you're up there in Canada. What's your weather like?
It's still cold. It's still cold. There's still some snow on the ground. A little bit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, let's support the visualization of warm weather coming our way.
Yes.
So what
How
can you
is
tell
it
about Sue? Go ahead.
Aloha. Can you hear us all right?
Yeah.
Great.
Hi, Sue.
Hi. You have a double header tonight. Reverend White Otter is sitting right next to me.
Yay.
And he's here to kibitz with us as well.
Good evening.
Oh, good. We like to kibitz. Good evening, Reverend White Otter. Let me add that to the show. And Reverend White Otter, please send me your information at aquarianradio@gmail.com, and I'll add you to the webpage.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, so who wants to start talking first? Sue, do you want to tell us about yourself?
Well, all right. Reverend White Otter and I are married, and we live in a suburb of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And while it sounds incredible, we've been in contact with a group of extraterrestrials that reside and work from a long-standing, very old facility beneath the Sandia Mountain, which lies along the eastern edge of the Albuquerque metropolitan area. This group of extraterrestrials started to talk to us in 2013, and we started to learn from them. And then they began to teach us things. And so White Otter and I both hear them. We both kibitz with them on a regular daily basis. And
do they speak English? How do they speak? Do they have an accent?
It's telepathic communication. When we hear them, it's not only in words, it's emotions, it's images, it's maps, it's three-dimensional stuff, and it's all coming in telepathic chunks of information. And they asked us back in 2015, I believe it was, to open a social media account. And that's how, at their request, I knew nothing about Twitter at the time. Had to have somebody walk me through setting things up, and started listening to the gentleman that first introduced himself to me from Zeta Reticuli 2. His name is Tlkm. And so Commander Tlkm asked for a Twitter account to be open, and he began sharing information on Twitter, and then slowly but steadily allowed more members of his team to have a voice.
So how did he know about Twitter?
As far as I know, one of the other crew members, one of his other staff, whose real name is Rahaz, and we've nicknamed him Radar. Radar had the assignment when he arrived here of studying Earth's media, movies, documentaries, books. If it had extraterrestrial or ET content, What Tlkm wanted radar to study was what Earth humans gleaned about them and other star nations from that media. And so it was radar who explained to Tlkm, there's this free thing where you can talk to people all over the world and share information. It's called Twitter. Honest, that's how it worked. They talked about Facebook, they talked about Twitter. And so radar was the one who taught Tlkm.
Does it go two ways? Can you let them know how you feel about your kids in your life and your community and stuff? Can you chunk information
absolutely.
Back to them?
Yes.
Most definitely.
Far out.
So what did he glean from all of our media? Because I kind of cringe when you think about it. It's like, my God, he must think we're a bunch of idiots.
Oh God, that's a loaded question. You wouldn't believe the comments that radar makes all the time.
Oh, radar
movie
oftentimes will mix quotes from different movies and different genres and come up with the strangest blends of famous quote snippets. But what do they think of us? They know that we are being prepared to get ready to meet. That part seems obvious to them. They also know that there is a mixture of portrayal of positive and right-minded or extremely negative and attacking and greedy or violent in Star Nation's portrayals in movies and television and that kind of thing. So they are very aware that they are walking into this with essentially one very large PR problem.
Oh. So what about all the contacts they've been having? Let me just say this and then we'll pass the talking stick around because we all have questions. We're all so excited. What was I going to say? Okay, so I am a lifelong contactee. I've been having experiences since the crib. I've been interacting with the Greys, I'll just call them the Greys to shorten it, since, really small, but other species as well. So what about all of us contactees? Are we helping them get a grasp about what's really going on with the people that are, because a lot of our information gets hijacked and twisted and manipulated, and there's an agenda out there to paint us, and we're kind of like just subject to what's being thrown at us, and we're not in the loop. We don't have the full truth. So what do they think about that? Because I know I get a different impression. I always have positive experiences. Mine are really pleasant, and I love everybody in the cosmos. But go ahead. Somebody answer that. Pass it on.
Well, I guess where to start with your question? I have, and Otter has had, for the vast majority of our lives, a plethora of star nations, plural, interacting with both of us. And for him, he clearly remembers it starting at age 10, Otter?
Yeah, 9, 10, somewhere in that point.
Okay.
That's when I first got dropped back in bed.
Right. And you, over the course of the last 50 years plus, then have interacted with how many star nations would you say?
24.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, that sounds about
How
right.
many? Say
24.
Say that again? 24 star nations. Okay, so what is a star nation?
Define a star nation.
Yeah, what is a star nation?
What I've come to understand is any humanoid species of extraterrestrial beings that do not reside as permanent individuals here on this planet like we do.
Okay. Are some, do they have some kind of colonies here, bases, permanent, many generations? Like I heard about the tall whites in the Child Halt interact. He said that they have children that are born here and brought here, live here.
That's correct.
Do other species have similar facilities?
Correct.
Yeah, go ahead.
As far as we have been told, the tall white, or what we say as the Schlan, and we spell it XLN, and sometimes when we hear it, it sounds like echelon, like that hierarchical word, and other times we hear it from them, it sounds more like a J sound, like Jlan. And so we're trying to understand what we're being told there, and that's also part of the reason why the XLN spelling. But the Jlan, or the tall white individuals from that Zeta Reticuli area, we've been told have a facility beneath Mont Blanc in France. We also know that there is another facility down in I don't know if it's New Zealand or Australia now. There is an underwater facility not far off the coastline there that is a multi-nation facility for underwater study and interaction. I can also tell you that here in New Mexico, we have under long standing complexes dotted all over the landscape. And we know of Zeta Reticuli complexes, Sauron complexes, multi-dimensional nation complexes. Trying to think of any of the other ones. We also know of established traditional communication points, and what they have come to call, I have come to call, because it's the best translation I've come up with, is public portals. Areas where anybody can kind of come and go. It's common airspace. It's not a claimed or private portal, maybe, for a private nation's complex. It's kind of like if it's public airspace, they've indicated some of those locations where you see a lot of activity of all kinds of different ships.
You were mentioning about Skinwalker Ranch being one of them.
Yes, right. Correct. There's a public portal not very far from that facility.
Oh, yeah, and the one in Italy, the friendship group who moved to Chile.
I don't know about that. Tell me about that, Sasha.
Well, there was almost 120 Italians got along with these guys. And what they said they do is they make little portal. Their thing is on a base underneath the sea, right off this northern Italian on the Adriatic, and they open up the earth. They make their chamber. It seals up, and there's some that they leave, and so they somehow were dependent on us for fruit. They used to bring truckloads of fruit, and they sort of made Italian money manifest. It takes a lot of liras to do stuff.
Yeah.
They got the truck. The truck driver would come in and have a beer, and by the time he'd come back out, his truck was clean and didn't ask questions. Anyway, so then the same group, they call themselves a friendship group. They contacted these people and had them fix their boat in Chile. The people were having some radiation problems, and they helped cure that, and they established it, and they're called the Friendship Group, and they talk about the same kind of portals bases where people from all different extraterrestrial groups can come, and there's the ones in Italy, there was like this totally full-grown adult 3-foot person and a totally full-grown adult. The leader of it was like 12 feet, but they're both total adult human beings. Anyway, so that's that group. I have a little thing about it on my website, Enki Speak.
I'd love to see that, Sasha. I will look at that. We know that there is an UMO facility somewhere right on the borderline between France and Spain. The UMO are known in Europe, like the Zeta nations are known here in North America. And so the UMO have been sharing scientific knowledge via letters that spontaneously show up at scientists' houses or facilities, describing their understanding of the science of the universe. So we're aware of those kind of facilities too. We do know about some of the facilities in Japan, and we're starting to understand where some of the underwater facilities are, and there's a lot of them. So some of these are common, as in joint nation, and some of these are exclusive, as in, no, we need this atmosphere and we need this kind of facility and environment. So this is just for us, this star nation. And I'm going to correct Otter. Go ahead.
What about the ones in Sandia? What do they really need?
Oh, they filter our air and they remove some of the nitrogen. I know that. They clean up the oxygen. And I don't know how to say this, but they enliven it. I don't know a good translation for that, except that they
change the ionization.
Yeah, make it so that the atmosphere is more usable for them.
We know what that is.
Okay, all right. Maybe that's the best explanation.
Yeah, no, anyone that lives by the sea or next to a river knows just what you mean.
Okay, yes, that's the aliveness that they're talking about, is that you breathe it in and there's some water molecules, but those water molecules also have that alive feel to them. Sure.
Oh.
Cool.
So what else do you want to
Wow.
Well, Janet just about her underwater base, too, because she spent some time in an underwater.
Do you know anything about the underwater base under Johnston Atoll? It's in the Pacific, 800 miles southwest.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just southwest of Hawaii. You would have to. Can you contact them right now while we're talking and ask questions?
What do you want to know?
About the underwater base at Johnston Atoll.
What do you want to know about it?
Which
we want to
beings
know
are there? Which species?
Is the dragon still there, and what does she want to tell us? Is the dragon still there, and what does she want to tell us?
Okay, so I can't translate for the dragon because she's not within the Sandia complex. All right, you're going to have to talk.
Oh, there's grays there.
Yes,
there's grays
that
there
is
well.
correct.
Yeah, so
there, but you've got a combination of things there because you've got interaction with some of the aquatic Zeta nations.
Yes.
Okay, as well as other aquatic nations that appear more humanoid or human-looking within part of their torso, face, hand structures, okay, but that are not Zeta, as well as land or terrestrial Zetas, as well as other nations interacting with some of the aquatic nations off of that coastline. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the main people under there were Anunnaki guarding the dragon, the great gigantic.
Well, there's also a portal there too, but they were interacting with the three different sizes of grays. One, the tallest was like a gray mantis hybrid kind of looking thing.
Oh, sure, right.
And humans, and then they took me down into lower, into the facility. We went down quite a ways, and there was a doorway, kind of a shielded area. There was a wall, and then the wall came down, kind of dissolved electrically, and then behind it was this dragon, and so I was used as a communicator. It was like I was a central portal of a computer hub, and somehow I was able to translate for everybody. So I must be some kind of translator at my highest essence. So I was translating all this stuff for the people that were gathered there. So
amazing.
Wow.
The humanoid species, yeah.
That is just amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Boy, no.
Thank you.
That's one of those life experiences you would remember with extreme clarity. I've had those, and they're every one of them sticks with you.
I want a dragon after to see.
What's that? You want a dragon? What?
I want a dragon after official first contact.
Oh, okay. Well, let's make it happen. Yeah. So let's see. Kevin, do you have any questions or comments? I tend to monopolize things. You have to just, raise your hand and interject.
I was just kind of trying to clarify when we're talking about the tall whites. Are we talking about tall white zetas? Or are we talking about tall whites like Dee? When you're talking.
Oh, very good question.
Yeah, good question. You go ahead.
And to be very honest, Kevin, I don't have a clear answer for you on that yet. We're still learning what nation we're talking about and how very many different ways that nation can appear to us. So let me give you, for instance, if I've got a tall white Schlon person and they have no hair on their head and their head is much larger, versus if I have someone like Dee who appears as a tall white and manifests often as the tall whites do with a blue aura of light around them, but she has this flowing, gorgeous silver white hair. Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's where the analogy comes to human beings. I have long, silvery white hair. Do you?
No.
Do any of you? So you look different than me, even though you're the same species as me.
Right.
Okay, so I'm still learning because we're still getting images and being introduced to various people who falls into that cultural category. And I don't even know if I can call them a culture from a single planet, or if it's a grouping of star nations who have explored many places in the galaxy and occupy worlds all over, but collectively they're called the Schlon. I don't know yet. So we're still waiting all kinds of clarification and learning every day.
Oh.
I totally relate to that from the other people I've been studying, like Sherry Wild. She talks about her Zeta Grey, saying, well, I'm not just from a particular place. I'm a traveler and a learner throughout the galaxies, and you're seeing me in this form, this Zeta Grey form, because this is very convenient for the work we're doing here.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah,
okay.
That's right.
Okay.
It's like, I like this body. It's function.
It works.
It functions well. That's what he said. Yeah. I remember Sherry saying, why don't you just show up like a human one day? And he said, have you ever looked in the mirror? Have you seen how big your teeth are?
Wow. That's a great line.
It's like, who's scarier,
That's a great line. Oh my goodness. We've had all
scary.
We've had all kinds of fun here in the last month plus, because starting in January, the Sandia facility began to get more trainees coming in, because 2018 is the year of increased soft in-person contact. And that's one of the reasons that they put out the Telepathy 101 primer. That's, if you don't know what we're talking about, one of our Zeta friends, Teeny last year helped dictate to us 285. This is the basics of how you get started working on your telepathy, so you can hear us and we can hear you, and you're not scared when we talk with each other. Okay, that was the whole basis of putting out the primer for free. So you can go to Official First Contact and download it in at least 10 languages right now. And we've got 3 more languages translating in the pipeline.
So, Sue, let me ask you a question on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you don't mind.
Sure.
So I was talking with, what's his name that just passed last year? Selected by extraterrestrials. What was his name? How do you help me? Bill Tompkins. Yes. Tompkins, yes. And so Tompkins was telling me that he was so excited. He says, I can talk to them. They can hear me. And he was looking at me because there's something about you too. And I said, yeah, I'm able to, talk telepathically with them too. So he noticed something about me, or it was something on an energetic level or spiritual level. And so he was very excited, like, oh, you can talk to them too. You can talk to them. I go, yeah. So is that something that we all have the ability? Has that been switched off, that ability to be telepathic? So that we have, I guess, privacy? Because if we hear everybody's thoughts, we're going to go crazy. Or
that was a question I wanted to ask.
Sorry.
All right. Well, the honest answer is all of us have the hardware. We have everything we need within us to reconnect in a much, much, much stronger way than we are now in our culture, telepathically. And you see it in children, right? You see it in kids under the age of 5. And you see it before it's trained out of them. Mm-hmm. Because they aren't validated. They might see and hear something, and if mommy doesn't see or hear it, she says, well, no one is there, and I didn't hear anything. And so the child learns that their telepathy is not right. And so they drop it. Now we're teaching, with Teeny's help, to have people pick it back up, because it is one of the primary communication methods in this galaxy. And we're about ready to leave our planet and go explore. And they want us to be able to communicate and know how, and know the protocol, and know the different nations. So all of that is the reason that the primer got put out.
So what does one do if they can't communicate? What's the step one? How do they open that up the hailing frequencies?
How do you increase your telepathic skill set? First of all, you take the woo-woo factor straight out of it. This is a skill like any other skill you're going to learn. It takes practice and feedback. Your brain has to understand what, and get a validation for what it feels right, like to be right, okay? That's the learning process. Just like if I went to Kevin and said, teach me to play the guitar, he would send me home with a practice book and say, all right, I'd like you to practice X number of minutes every day, and then a week from now come back and we'll see how you've increased your skill set, and we'll give you the next step, all right? This is no different. So the first step is to be aware of when you are naturally receptive. There's 5 times every day where, without doing a doggone thing, you are naturally telepathically more receptive. And those are the time frames when you get closest or enter into alpha state as far as your brainwave activity. When you do that, you do it as you're waking up in the morning, transitioning from sleep into waking consciousness. You do it usually a couple hours after you've been up and doing stuff, mid-morning, about that time where you feel like you need another cup of coffee to, jolt yourself back up. You do it mid-afternoon after you've had lunch and have that mid-afternoon slows. You do it mid-evening after you've had supper. And then you do it as you're going to sleep. Every single one of those times, you are more telepathically, naturally receptive because you're closer to that alpha state. Your body naturally does that rhythm. So now the telepathy primer says, all right, let's take that concept, now proactively put yourself into more alpha state and learn to control how fast you get there, how deep, so that you can, in a heartbeat, at the click or the tip of your fingers, get yourself into that receptive state so that you can communicate instantly.
Well, Sue, how do you and Otter are able to tap into it at any point? Like, are you in alpha state all the time?
Otter? All right. So the honest answer is, go ahead, Otter.
What? You want to learn how to practice the conscious contact, that you're consciously aware of the fact that you're in contact with other beings telepathically 24/7, 365.
We call it walking with a foot in each world, meaning you got 1 foot in the physical world, 1 foot where you got to pay your bills, you got to do the dishes, you got to deal with the kids. And then the other foot staying connected with the entire collective consciousness, knowing that there's an unseen world beyond our vision, beyond our visual perspective, ability to see, out there interacting all the time. And if you choose to, you can stay connected with those interactions and have it work with you instead of just ignoring it. So that's conscious contact. Right. So is it technically we are in alpha state all the time? I would say now we have technically learned to stay plugged in all the time, even shifting in and out of alpha. So we've brought it from only being able to do it in alpha to being able to do it in beta as we go about our regular daily activities. Does that make sense now?
I think
walking the spiritual path with practical feet.
Correct. Absolutely, Sasha. That's absolutely right.
Well, that makes sense. That makes absolute sense.
I have a lot of work to do. I've got a lot of work to do.
I've had that awareness, but I don't have total. But now that one is just permission, the realization that this is possible. So now that I know that,
right. If you know it's possible,
will probably change.
What you want to do is very slowly but steadily increase the amount of time per day that you can walk connected. Maybe today it's 5 minutes. Okay. Well, maybe tomorrow it's 6. Maybe next year it's 3 hours. We did not develop this ability to stay connected 24/7 overnight or even in a year. Honest, we didn't.
In 35 years for me.
Took a lot of practice. Otter is been a practicing shaman for 35 years. Mm-hmm. And so he studied all kinds of things from all over the world and has stories you wouldn't believe. But when he says there's 35 years of practice, that's exactly what he's talking about. And he's not 35 years old, guys.
The Jaguar story just still amazes me. Yeah.
Do you want to explain the Jaguar story?
That's only for Otter if it's it might be kind of confidential. I don't know.
They're asking if you want to tell the Jaguar story.
What story?
The Jaguar story.
Oh. Y'all are familiar with Peru, I take it.
Yes.
About 10 years ago, I was wrestling with the concept of the sacred feminine and trying to understand its connection to me. So I chose to take a trip to Peru and meet with an indigenous shaman for 2.5 weeks. During that time, went through several ceremonies and ingestions of native herbs.
Mm-hmm.
And on one of those days, we were taking a tour of the piece of property that this retreat center was on.
In the jungle?
In the jungle, right off the Amazon.
Lots of vines, lots of green, lots of bugs.
While we're walking around that property and talking and discussing plant materials and indigenous plant herbs, I chose to walk past the group and walk down this trail. There was a tree growing in the middle of the trail. And walked past it. Something said, no, step back and lean up against the tree. So this was just about twilight in the evening. And I'm looking down this trail, and it's downhill from where I'm at to a little ravine and then comes back up to another knoll. Coming down the trail, I see something moving kind of fast towards me. And it turned out to be that as they turned the corner and came across the ravine, I could see 3 jaguars, a male being followed by 2 females. As they kept bounding up this trail, it was like, stand still, they'll go right past you. And I stood there for a minute, and the male jaguar hit the ground in front of me and jumped right up into my chest.
Whoa!
The female jaguar behind him hits the ground in front of me and jumps into my chest. The third jaguar, another female, hits the ground in front of me and jumps into my chest, and the male jumps out. I walked away with a double dose of sacred feminine that night.
The jaguars merged with him.
They did. And the jaguar is now in a tattoo on his chest over his heart.
Wow.
This man understands the sacred feminine coming from a battlefield warrior from the Vietnam era and being an alpha male man's man in a world growing up where he had to be tough. Chose 10 years ago to go and try to understand what he considered a missing piece of himself. There was something that he saw that other people were getting that he wasn't. And so he went to the most sacred man he knew and said, please help me. And now that has allowed him to connect telepathically deeper, faster, stronger to the collective consciousness and all these star nations, because he chose to find and seek a way to reach that deeper level of emotional honesty and in touch with how the sacred feminine is vital to our understanding.
Wow. It's Sophia, songwriter, said something, may the warriors find peace within so the healing of the earth can begin. And you've done that, Rev. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I think I have a lot of feminine energies. I always have, and it's been very strange. But I've always felt like I've had more feminine energy in my relationships than the women I've ever been with. It's kind of hard to explain, but in a lot of ways now I feel like a self-contained entity of balanced male and female.
There you go. I would agree with that, Kevin. I think you are finding that blending that balance is becoming easier and stronger as your telepathy increases and as your interactions have increased. Look at the growth that's happened just in the last 6 months within your life.
No kidding. Yeah.
I mean, oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. So, and that side effect of individuals around the world who have started practicing their telepathic contact with each other and forming telepathy groups in their country and practicing with each other locally. Those people, we have messages from people all over the world that they find that their spiritual depth is increasing in ways that they did not expect, and their skill sets in other areas in their life are becoming much easier. They're finding doors opening for them, and their growth rate, that's what they say. That's the common factor that we're hearing. Their internal growth rate has exploded.
Yeah. I can see your program allows people to empathize with each other and to get beyond their separation. It's just beautiful. I love it.
It was designed by Teenie to speak beyond religions, beyond cultures, beyond borders, and she tried very hard to understand the phrasing that we needed to use to be understood by Earth humans, so that the appeal and the language and the interaction, one was her personality, but two also was universal in its understanding across culture here on this planet.
Wow.
Well, I'd like to address that. I think from what I get from my information and downloads, is that this separation, masculine and feminine, was part of the original polarity, and that when we balance ourselves with our inner and outer masculine and feminine, we return to unity, consciousness, and oneness, and we heal the wounds of all creation. So that's what I do in my practice.
I think it's very true, because I've discovered that too, even in my music that I'm finding now, because of the energies that I bring in and the energies that I'm putting out when I'm playing. I play, very, intense music, but I don't play angry music. My music comes from a very emotional sound, emotional based. It's hard to explain, but it's almost coming from a feminine energy of love.
You go way out and sit on the edge of the black, my dear, and you just play what you hear.
Yeah, and that's the energy I'm pulling out. It's this beautiful energy I'm pulling out, and it's hard to express. But sometimes I almost feel like I'm on the verge of crying when I'm playing this really intense metal music.
Sure.
It's not really metal, but it's this powerful music,
Powerful,
it's
potent.
Powerful, yeah.
Passionate, maybe.
Passionate.
And so the
passionate.
passion is coming through.
Very passionate, very emotional, yes.
Good stuff.
So I'd like to just share something that really works for a telepathy kind of a thing. Is you look in somebody's eye, especially their left eye, and you breathe in and out same time they do, and you keep looking in the left eye until you feel your consciousness merge with them, like you can feel like you're one person. So then what you can do, anything to know what's going on, you just put yourself behind their eyes and you can feel what it's like to be and think like them. And you start doing that, and it's just amazing, because you can do that with each other. So that's a good way to start too.
Wonderful. Thank you for reminding me of that. I had forgotten that exercise, Sasha. There's a similar one that I was taught, and that is to drop down into alpha state. One way to do it is an open-eyed, simply get a partner, and you do nothing but look into each other's eyes and don't look away.
Right.
And sometimes you will see their faces morph or appear to morph as you're searching through and touching on images around them and all those different lifetimes. And you're right. If you can put yourself within them, if they give you permission, the two of you have to give each other permission to do something like that. But
Right.
if you say you can be within me, I can be within you, I'm open to sharing these things. And we do so in the most right-minded manner we can. And I would do that having smudged off and cleared energy first in the room and with themselves. But those kinds of exercises, we are adding to the Gift of Infinite Voice book that's coming out, as well as the hosting a Close Encounter of the Fifth Kind event.
CE5?
Yeah, CE5 book that we're finishing up now.
ET Pajama Party.
Yes. Yeah, the subtitle is, or How to Have an ET Pajama Party. That's absolutely right. So,
all right.
So one of the interesting
Are
things
we going to
that
have it in
happens,
your house?
if you're contemplating another person and you just keep looking at their face, at some point their face will turn into yours, and you realize that they are you and you are them.
Correct. Yes, I've seen that as well. And yes, it's a fabulous exercise and very simple to do. Very, very good. Thank you. I appreciate the reminder on that one.
So when are you doing the CE5? Is it an event?
Okay, so what we're finishing up right now is the book based on our experience and CE5 experience that Twitter followers have relayed to us. We're working with Karen Brown in Florida. Karen was one of the 3-member team that started the first trial beta version of the quote ET Pajama Party. And she's a very good writer and a very good help with back and forth work. So she and Otter and I have pooled our resources and have been writing a manual on if you want to have and host your own Close Encounter of the Fifth Kind event. What do you need to do? Whether it's large or small, whether it's 100 people on a hillside on private rural land, or whether it's 3 people sitting in camp chairs looking out somebody's open garage door at the sky.
Oh, I love it. It's wonderful. What a
do you
great
need
thing.
to do? Right. What do you need to do? What do you need to consider? What kind of things can happen? What kind of things have we experienced? Okay. What do you need to have your guests bring? Do you need liability insurance? They can make it for the zombie apocalypse. Maybe they can make it for CE5 events. I don't know. So we walk people through everything that we can think of. The good, the bad, and we even have an entire chapter on what happens if one of your group reports missing time. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. What do you do? What can you expect? They're going to go into overwhelm. What do you need to be prepared for? If this happens in a group of 100 people, then what do you do? Okay. So there's a lot of things that we cover. And it's everything from one thing we highly encourage is what we call Meet ET role playing. So you pick a member of your ET Pajama Party attendees, and they get to play a Star Nation person of their choice. And you give them a scenario that they're coming to meet, and this is how they present themselves, and how do the attendees act? Impromptu. What do they do when they meet a Zeta? What do they do if Sasquatch roars from the woods? What do they do if a 3-foot dimensional portal opens up on the ground 10 feet in front of them and a hand comes through and waves at them? Okay, so walk through Meet ET roleplay. What it does, honestly, is it gets people to interact in a charades almost kind of format, meet each other, laugh, have fun, but also think through as a group, what if this was me? What if the Zeta was approaching me? What if I saw this dimensional portal open up on the ground and somebody crawl through it, what would I do? How would I act? How should I act? How do I know if it's bad or threatening? How do I know if it's okay? Do I say something? Do I wave? Do I shake hands? Do I hug them? What do I do? Okay? And so we tell people all of the experiences that we can think of that they might run into. And it's the list goes on, but it gives them an idea of, if I'm going to do this, boy, maybe I'm facing more than I thought, and am I really ready for this? Because if you host an event, you're responsible for the physical, emotional, and spiritual safety of everybody who comes to your event, okay? You take responsibility.
Are you doing workshops with this? Are you putting it?
We will
actually doing it.
We will be.
Wow.
That's the goal. That's one of the things we want to teach people, the right-minded manner that we were taught of soft contact, and how to invite the Star Nation down to say, hey, would you like to come down and chat? We'd love to meet. And so it's a manner of opening up or attempting to open up dialogue initiated by us in a right-minded way, following the guidelines that we've been given. All right.
Hold that thought. We'll be back in 5 minutes. We have to take a commercial break. See you in a few.
Oh, wow.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Did you ever feel that things were not quite right? That everything was just ever so slightly askew?
Do you have, to paraphrase Morpheus, a splinter in your mind?
If you're interested in hearing the latest information about UFOs, the paranormal,
ancient cultures and structures,
monatomic elements,
longevity,
fantastic discoveries in science,
downloaded to your brain,
then tune into us. Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Mackie.
And we are Shiny Side Out, Sundays 2 to 4 a.m. Eastern. See you then.
Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Join me weekdays for my new show, Tell Chris Joe. It's going to be a problem show brought to you live from Kensington. Thursdays, I'm dealing with hot topics, heated debate, what's new around the world, and ring-ins to discuss listeners' problems and offering considered and heartfelt solutions. So join me, Chris Hart, for Tell Chris Joe. Stop what you're doing, grab a cup of tea. I'm coming live from Kensington. Relax, let me entertain you with a coffee bar online. Listeners' very personal problems. So that's Thursdays, 2 p.m. in the afternoon, Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. See you there. It's going to be lots of fun.
Is your data safe? Do you have the necessary information to assist you in confidently living through just about any survival situation? Is survival and gardening, off-grid living, medical knowledge, or even natural or man-made EMPs on your list of personal concerns? Do you have your documents and your personal information in a safe place in your hands where you know where it is? Well, check out our preloaded EMP-proof thumb drive. Over 3 gigs of survival documents and how-tos, plus the USDA offline food preservation website, and much, much more, including a surprise bonus we just can't tell you about here. With plenty of room left over to store your most important documents. Imagine if a megavirus or a computer failure took out your bank, or all the banks for that matter. Are your banking records safe in your hands? So when they get things fixed and repaired, you can say, hey, look, this is what I had. You have it. I want it back. Is your personal data safe? Family records, addresses, phone numbers? Well, squeeze on over to freedomslips.com. Yes, that's www.freedomslips.com. Click the banner on the homepage for the EMP-proof bullet drive to get the full scoop of everything that we offer. So, folks, keep your data safe for your peace of mind. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Looking for a nightcap to fill your listening needs? Come join us on Spaced Out Radio with me, Dave Scott, right here on Revolution Radio. Monday through Friday for 3 hours a night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we will take you down the supernatural path. From ET contact to the paranormal and all of the spiritual, cryptid, and conspiracy stories in between. You can find us right here on Revolution Radio, at spacedoutradio.com, on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and on Facebook at Spaced Out Radio Show. Spaced Out Radio. It's a night of talk and interaction. Are you experienced?
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Aloha and welcome back to Stargate to the Cosmos on Revolution Radio. And we have a gang here today. We have our guest, Sue Walker and Reverend White Otter. We have myself, Janet Carol-Lesson. We have Dr. Sasha Alec-Lesson. We have Kevin Estrella. And we have our producer, Thomas Becker. And we're having a great party here. We're going to do a CE5 one of these days, Sue, right on air. Everybody can look outside the door, and there'll be ships hovering above everybody's head. But
wait a minute. I want the invitation to Hawaii.
Oh, we're working on that. We'll tell you that. I got to do our commercial, then we'll come back to. But we're going to talk about that and what's happening in Albuquerque. But in 1 minute here, I got to finish our commercial. We want to remind everybody that we need your donations to, bring these wonderful shows to you here at Revolution.radio. So please go over to the donation button and make your donation, 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever you can afford. We really appreciate it. Your donations are what keep us alive here. Mad Painter, Thomas Becker, where are we in the process?
We seem to be stagnated. We're still at 1353, and that's what we were Saturday. Here it is Tuesday, and we need 2,700. That's 2 days with not even $2 donation. That's pretty sad.
Oh, come on, people! Get one less cup of coffee. Get the Starbucks and give us that $5 instead. Alrighty, well, let's see if they respond to the call here. So, and we'll send an ET to you if you make a donation.
Yeah, we'll send Radar over. He'll give you a raspberry in your ear.
Yes, Radar will give you a raspberry. Yeah, beware. All right, so we're ready to do part 2, and I just wanted to say, I did the same thing when I was a kid. I used to have all my friends come out and sleep out, but I always had, if they didn't want to come, they'd say, oh, I'm busy, but if they wanted to come, they were there, and they seem to be ready. But yeah, it'd be great to do that. Sasha and I are highly trained in working with people that get destabilized and upset, and we do regressions and therapy, and we work with people. We do shamanistic things, and we always work with people that get down to their core, and they do soul retrieval, and we use that opportunity to help them work through whatever's going on, their fears and separation and all that stuff. So we, sign us up. We'll do it with you. If you
you sound like what we do, so I understand. As a couple, we talk the same language.
We do, and we're doing. I'll just do a little commercial break for us too. We're doing Stargate to the Cosmos conference in Albuquerque the last weekend of October, the 26th to 28th of 2018, and Sue and Kevin and White Otter, Reverend White Otter, you're all welcome to come on over there. We'll talk about what you can present, the workshops, and all that good stuff.
Okay.
So I sent you an application. If you didn't get it, let me know. I'll send you the link again. But we're going to blow the lid off this thing and develop our own disclosure. So maybe the gang will come over.
You don't know. Sometimes what they do, you just don't know. Well, go ahead and send me that link again.
I will after the show.
We'll get that application filled out.
But when I was in UFO Congress in Scottsdale 3 years back, I got up to go to the bathroom, and there was my buddy. I didn't have names for my aliens. They were I just knew them on a soul level, right, all the way down to source. And he was hovering right in my bedroom there, right above Sasha's bed. And, Sasha didn't blink an eye, but I had a full-on dialogue with him, and I was surprised that he showed up there. So you never know. Sometimes we do get people, beings, showing up at our conferences. So I'd love it if the Sandia ETs would come on over to the conference. So
they like to meet their friends, and when Kevin came to our home in December, Radar got all excited and showed up.
It was awesome.
Oh, Kevin, tell us about us. What did he do?
Well, Sue and Otter have this L-shaped couch, right? And I was sitting with my on my right-hand side was the glass to the backyard facing the Sandia Mountain, and Sue's facing me. And to my left, there's like an ottoman chair about maybe 10 feet away from me. And I'm just talking to Sue and Otter, and I catch out of the corner of my left eye, like in the shadow, like in my peripheral vision, like some movement. And I go and look. And at the same time, Sue is looking at the opposite direction, at the glass on my right hand side, because she saw the movement too, from the opposite side. So we were looking in the same area of the room, right? And so we just we both of us kind of glance like that, and then we just keep chatting away, and then it happened again, and then we look, and we both did the same thing. And I say, "Is there somebody here?" And then Otter pipes up, "Radar's been here for half an hour."
And the funny thing was, Kevin saw him in his direct but peripheral vision, and I saw him in the reflection in the glass window, the living room big glass window that we have that faces the mountain. And so I was looking at the reflection of the same spot in the living room that Kevin was staring at, but I was seeing it in the angle reflection of the window, which is what allowed me to catch him with a lot easier view.
Yeah, and that's when I knew if it was real, because she and I instantaneously looked. I was looking to the left, and she was looking to the right, because we were seeing the same corner of the room instantaneously at the same time.
Yeah, twice within what? A couple of seconds, a couple of minutes. It wasn't very long.
It was like 1 or 2 minutes. With the same thing happened. We both did that same double look.
Mm-hmm.
So, Radar, why didn't you come out and talk? What are you hiding in the shadows about? Just come on out and have a conversation.
That wasn't the only thing that he did, because I went out to get the camper set up, because Katerina and I were staying out in the camper, And so I'm out there by myself, and I'm loading a suitcase, and then all of a sudden the camper starts slowly rocking, and I'm like, I'm staying still, going, what the heck is going on here? Is it me? No, wait, this thing moved on its own.
That was
and then it finally stopped. Yeah, it was the next day. I tweeted out to Sandia saying, thank you so much for the wonderful visit, and yes, radar, I saw you in my peripheral vision, and by the way, was that you rocking the camper? And this tweet came back immediately saying, well, I may have had a little hairy help. It was his friend.
No.
It was his Sasquatch friend Kie. He was the one who was rocking the trailer.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Well, I can't wait till we actually sit down across from each other and have a cup of tea.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I've had some of this cryptic contact, but I've had contact with just in the last 6 months, one came into right beside my bed, towards the head of the bed, right beside me, but on my husband's side of the bed, and we had a conversation, full on. Mm-hmm. He was standing there, full on.
Yep.
So I must be getting relaxed at having contact, because they're starting to contact me. Yeah.
It was last month.
The more relaxed you get. Yeah,
yes.
Go ahead.
It was last month, to tell you how relaxed we've become. I got up in the middle of the night. It must have been 1:30 in the morning. I was walking down the hallway toward the kitchen to just go get a glass of water. And there was somebody standing about 3 foot tall, hugging the brick wall. As I rounded the corner, I realized it was one of the Zeta gang, and it was Sarah. And she wasn't invisible at all. And I passed her by, and in my sleepiness, I said, "Oh, hi, Sarah. I'm sorry," because I brushed by her. "I didn't see you there. I'm just going to go get a glass of water." And then by the time I came back, she had gone invisible. I think she got embarrassed that I'd spotted her. But she was full on just standing there. And I just brushed by her and just treated it like she was one of my kids. I wasn't scared. I didn't stop to talk to her. It was just, "Oh, hi, Sarah. Sorry I didn't see you there." And so that's how relaxed we've become.
Well, tell her the story you told me about the lady with the presentation.
The lady with which one? Which story?
The presentation. The one who did the presentation, and then somebody had disapproval to it.
Oh, you mean the one in my living room?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was sitting here with a gal, and she was trying to sell us something, and I was trying to be nice, but we were ready for her to leave, okay? And it was toward the end of her presentation, and she had just gotten up off the couch and gathered some of her things, and I was still sitting there kind of pulling myself together, and one of the Sandia Mountain crew must have been in the room, because the next thing I know, there is an absolute raspberry right in my ear, so close that you have to wipe away a little spittle. And I realized instantly where it had come from and why. And I just clapped my hand over my mouth. Had to be quiet because she was still there. And then it came again. It actually did come a second time, but not quite as close as the first time.
Oh my
So
goodness.
you just don't know what they're going to do. People say, well, Zetas don't talk. Well, no, they don't normally talk. Can they vocalize? If they really tried, they just are out of practice. Okay. So you really don't want to ask somebody from Zeta Reticuli to sing. However, that doesn't mean that they cannot whisper or make other mouth sounds, whistles. And, even the two-fingered piercing whistle.
Oh.
Can they wolf whistle? You bet they can. Okay, so they can make any mouth sound like you and I can. All right. So if it's a mouth sound that doesn't require vocal cords, they can do it. So if somebody whispers in your ear, you just have to ask, "Who is this?" instead of getting freaked out. Who's
so how do they go invisible? That's a good question. You said she was invisible. How do they go invisible? They're right there. But they can
I honestly do not ask them their technology questions. We have avoided asking them technology and details like that, and just wait for it to come out in conversation, to be honest.
Actually, they have an agreement, remember?
Well,
with the UMO on technical information.
Well, that's true. Now, there's a possibility. Okay, so here's the deal. The UMO, which is the nation that's very, very well known in France and Spain and most of Europe, and the Ponti know each other, of course. And so I'd have to go back and get the date, but Tlkm,
a year ago.
Yeah, sometime a year ago, wrote to AOIO, which is the name of one of the UMO, and said, we are all trying to get ready for official first contact, but I tell you what, I think we would be better served if we pass the scientific and technical issues to you so that you can better explain them. That gives us a chance to work on the cultural aspect, the telepathy, and increase the communication and the networking of all these right-minded people so that we lay a groundwork for soft communication and then stronger communication where people are unafraid. And the UMO wrote back and said, that sounds like essentially a good idea. It wasn't spoken that way. I'd have to go back and see exactly how AOIO phrased it, because the UMO talk very differently than the Ponti. However, the UMO have acknowledged publicly in France that they are aware of not only the Ponti, but where their facility is located, and have acknowledged publicly that, yes, they are answering the scientific questions and passing all of the cultural questions to the Ponti and other star nations who are agreeing to join in the sharing of Star Nation information in preparation for official first contact.
Wow. This is you need to do week-long workshops, or at least weekend workshops. This is wonderful for a group of people to have direct contact through and be ready for it by the role-playing that you have built right into your program, so that we can really claim a partnership with the extraterrestrials or intraterrestrials and feel good about ourselves and about the contact.
Well, the whole situation of meeting somebody who's not from here or not from this dimension is you have to be able to face your fears. Right. Okay, that's the biggest thing that they're facing planet-wide in official first contact, is everybody has to figure out how to deal with their fears. And when you stand there and have somebody approach you who doesn't look like you, you have to be able to be willing to stand your ground, because you're a cultural explorer and you don't know what you're getting yourself into yet. And so you have to be able to be brave and assess the situation.
So how do you
reach out?
Work with people so they stifle their fight or flight basic, gut reflex?
You change your flight to determination and intent. I am here because I want to do this. I'm here, and I know that I'm going to have a startle response, and I might be scared, and I might tremble a little bit. And if I do, I'm going to take the hand of the person next to me, and we're going to do this together. And then you try as best you can to assess the situation. You don't approach them. You allow a star nation to approach you. Very simple. Stand your ground. Stay there. Keep an open posture so that you are non-threatening. Keep your hands open. And don't thrust your hand out to shake hands with somebody, because you don't know if you can touch that nation safely yet. So what you do instead is you just take both open hands and you put them together with your finger points up over your heart area. All right? So you're symbolizing, I have no weapon, I am open, I am non-threatening, and we are coming together. And then you take your two hands and you form a small bowl with both hands, like you would fill water with to drink out of. And you very gently offer that bowl toward your Star Nation visitor. That's the gesture, that's the universal gesture of I am open and I have something for you. I have something to give you. And that is also the non-threatening gesture of, and then you can take that same bowl, still formed by your two hands, and very slowly indicate a place for them to sit and come to, and then open your hands and back away from that place so that they can approach without feeling like you're right on top of them. Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
open up a dialogue,
Yes.
you're trying to open up interaction, but you're also assessing, are their gestures non-threatening? Is there telepathy? And you do reach out telepathically simultaneous to doing all this. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Please come sit and be welcome with us. Okay, that's your gesture, and that's your telepathic welcome. You don't know who they are. You don't demand their name yet. Your first goal is to help them get over their fears of coming and approaching you for the first time too. Okay, they're just people, guys. Some of them are trainees, and this is the first time they've ever been here. And they don't know how to interact with us. We've had interactions with CE5 stuff where the Star Nation person showed up and was way too close and way too loud telepathically and scared.
Well, I had that happen to me last Sunday.
Okay? And just startled them. And it's like, ah! Because they didn't know personal bubble space. Okay? And we always suggest if a Star Nation gets too close, the usual personal bubble space for any person, any nation, anywhere is about their body length. Okay? If it's closer person, half the body length or even closer than that. But typically, if you want to deal with a Star Nation person, be about a body length away. And if they want you closer than that, they'll indicate that to you. But it's a good place to start. So it's these kinds of just general rules of thumb. What do you do? How do you do it? How do you react? That's what's going into our hosting a close encounter of the fifth kind event book.
Could I share
so
my
that
story?
Everybody's got something to go back to and reference.
Yeah, can I share my story? What happened last weekend?
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
exactly
sure.
what happened.
Story given.
Okay, yeah. So like, I haven't even had. Well, I think we've already talked about the fact that I had a visitation from Sandia 2 Wednesdays ago, and they did some things to me, and they gave me an enhancement. They gave me an upgrade, and my head's been clearing and clearing and clearing. And so last Sunday, I decided it was my goal to finish the Telepathy 101 primer, and I did that, and worked on the last half of the book, which really focuses on, focusing on your amygdala and your pineal gland and communicating on an emotional wavelength. And then I did the telepathic hello to any Star Nations who happen to be listening and that I would like contact. And then I went to bed. And then it was around maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. I had a restless night, but I woke up and then I'm trying to go back to sleep, and my eyes are closed, and I'm just halfway between sleep and awake, and then all of a sudden, my eyes are still closed, and then about 2 feet in front of my face starts to appear this Zeta face. Now, I'm not saying that this was in my mind's eye. This was literally, I was seeing them with my eyes, like it was being projected in front of my face when my eyes were closed. It was kind of like, the movie The Matrix, that kind of green-looking, code going down. That's kind of what it looked like. But picture more of those three-dimensional posters that you used to see back in the 90s, where if you crossed your eyes, you could see a three-dimensional shape. That's exactly what I saw when my eyes were closed. I saw a three-dimensional face all of a sudden appear, and I just went, whoa! And I literally fell backwards. I fell out of bed and landed behind my bed. I was just completely blown away. It startled me. I was amazed. I was just like, what the heck? Oh, my God. What an experience. Oh.
Well, it's those kinds of things. The first time it happens to you, boy, you just can't go back to sleep.
That's what happened. I felt so bad. It's like, please come back. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to act that way.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Well, all right. And you probably scared the you-know-what out of them, too. Okay?
It was like the movie E.T.
Because of your reaction. Either that or Radar was just messing with you.
Well, that's always the case.
Always a possibility with you. Always. All right. So
the artwork that you do, I wanted to ask you about the artwork that you do, because you catch their personalities. Like Radar seems to be like a major character.
Oh, dear God. That would be a yes.
How do you do the artwork? All
right. So I actually ask each individual how they want to be portrayed. And I ask them the feel, the vibe, the emotion, and the intent that they want their portrait to have. And that's their choice. And then we review different kinds or ideas of, we could pose you this way with this light, or do this or do that, and come up with a decision. And sometimes I'll try a few things and go, I'm not feeling it. It's not clicking. And then there are other times where I'll sit in the studio and draw for hours, and Otter will have to come find me because I have gone timeless, because they are guiding my hands. All right. So they are assisting with some of the detail of this, so that the lifelikeness, the humanity comes out much stronger. Drudy specifically asked for a scarf to be on her head. She loves silk scarves. It is what she normally wears, but she asked for it because she knew that in many parts of the world, holy women and women who walked a spiritual path covered their heads. And she wanted to show them that she was also a spiritual woman. Radar, after Radar first visited Kevin, and I think, Kevin, it was a visit you didn't know about. Radar came back, and when I needed to redo his original sketch with his, Radar ball cap on, he wanted his portrait done with him learning to play the guitar. That was it. That was the only thing he wanted out of that, is please dress me and make me look cool, and I want to be like Kevin. Basically, that was the kind of thing, the vibe that he wanted his portrait to have. I'm not making this up. So that's why you got Radar playing the guitar. Tlkm thought that it would reach the demographic that much easier. Okay, if his portrait had him doing something that that generation could vibe with. All right. Teeny wanted hers to be thoughtful And she said, okay, you can really show my age if you really need to, I guess. So you can see the wrinkles. You can see the lines. Tlkm wanted we looked through many hand gestures that Earth humans would understand as thoughtful, pensive, maybe a little worried, maybe a little amused. It's hard to tell. And that's what he asked his portrait to portray. And so if you look at Tlkm's portrait, his eyes are closed, his hands on his forehead. And yet you know that Radar has pulled another stunt and he's shaking his head back and forth going, now what am I going to do? And so that was how Tlkm asked for his portrait to be portrayed. I asked Grayson how he wanted his portrait done, and he said, can you show me walking away from the back? He didn't want to at all. And it was just Grayson is this combination of James Dean and Shakespeare all rolled into one. It's a really, really strange, deep, quiet, cool guy.
He's very handsome
young man who has this depth and poetry to him that only comes out in really strange ways in unusual times. And you'll see Grayson twist words in ways that I've never seen. There is something inside that man. And so his was, yeah, if you gotta draw me quick, okay. And that's the look I got. Okay, so that was how all of these portraits came about. All of the originals are about poster size, and about half of them have gone and been gifted to people around the world who have assisted the Sandia crew with translation of the primer or a donation to the Infinite Voice Project PayPal account or whatever. They gift back in all kinds of ways that you don't know. And sometimes the gift back is a personal visit.
I have one right behind me right now of Judy with her scarf. It's in the center of my bedroom. Room.
Right. That was one of the sketches. That was one of the first trial sketches that we were going to throw away.
Yeah, and I say hello to her every night when I come home.
So that's the story of the sketches, and we're looking for fair trade, organic cotton, dyes that are good for the planet, T-shirt manufacturers, to see if we can get some of these new images on things that help the planet and our people.
Yes.
So that search of linking right-mindedness with all of this, with official first contact, is part of that plan, and why they really are stressing doing that. So,
Sue, could you call them in right now and have them talk to us through you?
Yeah, there's a few of them over there, either Otter or either one. Doesn't matter. We both hear them. What do you want to know? Who's over on the desk?
Janet, what would you like to know, honey?
Oh, you throw back at me. Okay. What do I want to know?
How can we have a planet of peace? We have a planet of peace. How can we do it?
I mean,
on Earth.
Go ahead. You asked your question. So what can we do to balance out this crazy planet, guys? Because, it's going crazy bonkers here. I know it's always been crazy. I came in 1954 and World War II had just ended. And you think back, it's like we had a war that took the whole planet. I'm not from this planet, and this place is just so bizarre. But even with all the standards of bizarreness we've had over the last 50, 60 years, it just seems totally whacked out now. And what can we do to balance this planet, to create a planet of peace in time for it to not blow up? Or I just saw this morning they had to put down the last adult male white rhino in the world. Male. He's dead. They had to put him down. He was 45 years old. So this is sad. This is a species. They have 2 left. They got his DNA and stuff. They're going to try to artificially inseminate his daughter and the last remaining. There's 2 remaining white rhinoceroses in the entire world. Oh, come on, guys. What can we do? Come on. We really need help. This is bizarre. Who would like to answer?
You want to talk for PETA? You want to ask PETA to answer that?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I can tell you Sarah and PETA are over on the desk right now, and I don't know who all else is still coming in, but we'll see who else they can drag into the room to answer. Hang on. She says, "You're making things too complicated. You have to keep this much simpler and treat other people just the way you want to be treated. If you were thirsty, would you want somebody to give you a drink? If you were hungry, would you want somebody to offer you something or part of what they had? If you treat other people, no matter where they're from, the way you want to be treated, not the way they might be treating you, the way you want to be treated." And then the other thing is, we find it very important to look into people's eyes before we make a big decision that's going to affect their lives. And we don't know why you don't do that. Because you have to see what's going to go on inside of them and that ripple before you make your decision, don't you? Sometimes your world gets really confusing with the environment. You got changes coming that are pretty awful, and you're going to have to work together with each other, and that means you're going to need all kinds of people. But you live in little square houses where you don't go meet each other anymore. You don't do things together. You don't play together. And that playing together, eating together, working together, helping each other instead of sitting in little square houses is isolating you, so you don't know who can help you with what and who you can help. And if you're going to survive all the changes coming, you need to know your neighbors, guys. And that means star neighbors as well as Earth human neighbors, because this is something we're going to all have to do together. Keep it simple. Yeah, I think that'll work, Sarah. Okay, does that help?
Sarah. Wow.
That
was
helps.
That was very much like what Teeny said.
Yeah, Sarah's got a depth to her. Sarah's heritage is a blended Zeta hybrid nation, not Earth human Zeta, but Zeta hybrid, and her whole family line married genetics specifically so that nations could interact more easily with each other. So her diplomacy is very strong in her family line, and her understanding of how to talk to people and get it down to the simple cores is really strong. She's studied official first contacts on many worlds, and so she is their historic official first contact expert.
Well, Sarah, we really hear you and totally appreciate and take to heart the wisdom that you convey to us. Thank you so much.
She's
I have
nodding.
a question.
Yeah.
Do we really have to go through apocalypso? It's to me, what I've been getting from my contacts, which are many different species, is that that's not set in stone. It's more like an agenda of propaganda that's been hoisted upon us since the dawn of time to, think that that's the only option and actually co-create it because we think that's the only option. It comes like a religious cultural program, around like revelations and all these beliefs that we have to go through apocalypso. And I've seen timelines because I was shown 24 timelines, and there are some timelines, there's some realities, potential future histories that totally avoid any kind of apocalypso. It's just, it's kind of like different births. You have some people that are born and there's no pain at all, and some people that are born, it takes them 3 days to come out, extreme hardship. So I see us being born into this new culture with great ease, like a beautiful water birth, no pain whatsoever. I guess Troy on Star Trek Next Generation, she had a birth that went no pain. That's what I see happening. Is that, from your perspective, something that is in the realm of possibility?
All right.
That
so
we can
really,
do this?
You're talking about two different factors here, Janet. You're talking about both the Earth changes portion, which is already in progress, and we're seeing the extreme weather changes. And then you're also talking about the birth of us meeting our Star Nation family and them meeting us, and us realizing that we're not the biggest, baddest cats in this part of the galaxy anymore, okay? So what we have going on also is a situation where you have an Earth human population who is not telepathic, and so they rely on media communication and talking to each other, okay? That's the primary means of communication, is verbal. And they rely on what they get on television now instead of each other so much. But all of them are going to have to face their fear in some fashion, just like the people who voluntarily host a CE5 event. And so the goal is, between now and official first contact, to educate enough people that they don't have to be afraid, that they can conquer their fears and actually meet these people and watch other people do it, so that, and hear about other people's experiences, so that they go, well, maybe I could too, or maybe I can put my fear down. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes
Totally,
wonderful
yeah.
sense. Sign us on. I want to come to your workshop.
We'll talk you through it. And the unfortunate part of all of this is, if we had an opportunity on the heels of you guys coming to Albuquerque, we'd hold a big weekend workshop kind of thing. Unfortunately, we are probably going to be on a plane to Geneva, Switzerland, to host CE5 events in the Alps. So, yeah.
That's not unfortunate. That's going to be a good thing.
Right.
But if that happens to fall through, let me know, because Stuart Swerdlow wants to do, after the event, like a 2-day tour out into the different things there, like Roswell.
Oh, and we should
I don't know.
Talk about energetic places that might be very interesting. New Mexico is unlike most states that I travel through. In the desert Southwest, you can turn a corner and get an entirely different era and epoch, whether it's volcanic or flood or uplift or mesa or whatever it is. And honest to goodness, if you're sensitive enough and you've practiced your telepathy enough, every place you turn and there's a facility nearby, you can pick up on something's going on here. Whoa, what was that? And then you'll learn to telepathically probe and ping gently, politely, and say, hi, my name is so-and-so. I happened to be passing by and wanted to say hello. And as I've done that around this state, the stories, the voices, the responses that come back, it's everything from, who the hell are you, to oh, hi.
Hello.
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 Right. So
that's
what
also,
you're going to get.
Yeah, so that's all possible. Is this Geneva thing set in stone, or are they open with their dates?
No.
That's cold.
It's pretty set in
October,
stone.
You're going to be cold.
Yes, it's pretty set in stone.
That's going to be pretty cold there, right?
It's a week-long festival.
Yeah, there's a very, very large Geneva festival, and we're hoping to sit there and then afterwards go to private property and host a CE5 pajama party in the Alps.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, it'll be all perfect. Whatever happens is
it'll
work. So
it'll work.
It'll work. It's all good. It's all good.
I had a question for someone who's there right now.
Peter. Sarah.
Okay. Here's the question. Why is it that the human race is so disconnected from telepathy, almost like it's been deprogrammed out of us purposely, and is there any connection between the enhancement that they did to me and the clearing out of certain things in my brain to bring back that telepathy? Has there been an agenda to keep human beings poisoned with certain chemicals in order to suppress that telepathy?
Boy, I don't know if I have the answer to, is there an agenda? That portion gets into the conspiracy theory and all of that I am not well read in at all and really cannot comment on. But what I can tell you is a couple of things. Hang on, I'm asking Peter what he wants to say about all of this. There are some people that we visit that have that higher potential to walk in balance in an unafraid manner, that have that right-mindedness and that maturity that we become friends with, and naturally, as you become friends with anyone, want to see them do better. When you talk with us and we talk with you, the more interaction telepathically you have with any right-minded star nation, the more it... Hang on, translation problem. He's showing me an image of opening up ability in a broader, brighter sense and a clearer sense, because it's almost like, and then the analogy that he's giving me is, if I have an old pipe and it's had dirt and mud clogged in the middle of it, and I just slowly trickle some water through that pipe, slowly but surely, I'll dissolve whatever mud and clogs and dirt are in there. And if I slowly turn it up and add a little bit more water and a little bit more water, then pretty soon the pipe is running full bore and clear, right? And what you're going through, Kevin, Peter says, is like that. Because you're doing more with that part of your brain and that part of your whole being, persona, personality, soul, spirit, whatever word you want to use, all of the above. You're working and combining those and walking that every day, and that's what clears you out and brings the energy level back up, because now you're being you. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so as you do more telepathy, you clear out and you figure out who you are a lot easier.
Well, I can't tell them how thankful and how grateful I am for the gift they gave me.
Well, it's you and it's everybody else that's listening that's been practicing their telepathy. I think all of you, I think all of the students of the Telepathy 101 course would likely agree that they've found changes within themselves that they didn't expect. They expected to hear E.T.'s voice, and instead they got interior changes because telepathy is an inside job, guys. Thank you, White Otter, for the quote. We've got just a little time left. Is there topics we haven't touched on, guys?
Well, I wanted to hear a little bit more from White Otter. What would you like to tell us?
Oh, golly. White Otter stories. Are you sure?
Just some wisdom, because he's been kind of quiet. I'd like to give every able chance.
All right, so he's trying to hear you, and so what I'm going to repeat it because Otter has hearing loss from a few explosions that he went through a few decades back. So what she's asking for is a story, a CE5 story, or a telepathy connection story, or one of the radar stories, or whatever you want to tell him about.
Well, let's see.
Lean closer to the microphone.
I'm not tooting my own horn.
Well, you shoot somebody else's if you want to, but talk.
But no, it was interesting you brought up the topic about the white rhino, because it's just another slap in human man's face for not respecting what was given to him on this earth.
Yes.
Which is one of the things about the whole telepathy program, and that was set up with the idea and with the foundation of helping man on Earth move back or gain a level 0 humanitarian rating in the Star Nation.
Yeah, an advanced civilization level 0.
Yep, advanced level civilization. Right. That's when every man, woman, child in the world, basically every living thing, is taken care of and respected and honored.
You treat people
with
human
what
kindness.
Part of all of this is all about. That's why we started the telepathy program to begin with, to get people to come together and share with each other their own insights, their own learnings and expansions of themselves. The telepathy primer will break you down and make you look at yourself in a deeper way than you've ever imagined. And it takes an honest experience to go through that and shed away some of the stigmatisms that block us from practicing telepathy in our lives.
Or being ourselves.
Or being ourselves is actually it, too. So that's kind of where I'm at with some of all of this as far as what it was set up to be for in our agreements with the Ponte, is to help man gain that level of understanding and a relationship to his fellow man.
They want us to do good, but they want us to do good in a good way. Treat other people the way you want to be treated, and leave your planet better than the way you found it. That's it. It's that simple.
That's it. So we do only have a few minutes, so I guess everybody. I just wondered if they are saving some of this DNA from species like that are going extinct.
The extinctions will continue. This is Sarah. Because the planet is on course for a large shift change. The migration patterns will change. The food sources will change. The insect populations have already dramatically dropped. The drought and the weather patterns are shifting, and the increase in the intensity of the storms will continue. You must be ready. The people on your coastlines will deal with flooding and will have to move inland. And you must help them. And you must help prepare. Handwriting's on the wall. If you had to look at the earth and help fix it, start planting trees, start planting flowers, start doing everything you can to attract the insects and the birds back. Because
go meet your neighbor.
Go meet your neighbor, go plant a garden. Go share your extra produce with somebody. Be a good neighbor and do it with a good heart and a right mind away, and your chances of having contact are higher, because if you're right-minded, that's the kind of people they're seeking for contact for CE5s.
Well, we have about 1 minute.
Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you so much, Sue and Otter, for coming on. I really appreciate it so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you so much.
You are very, very
feel
welcome.
So inspired by you two. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
We're glad to be here, and we're glad to teach. It's fun.
And how can people reach you? What's your website?
My website is, I spell my first name Sue with no E, so it's just S-U. My last name is Walker, W-A-L-K-E-R. And so you just put them together, SueWalker.com. The Sandia website is officialfirstcontact.com.
Thank you, everybody. Love and blessings and aloha.
Aloha.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message. Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Any commercial advertising you may hear in this program is of the sole discretion and benefit of the host of whose program you are listening to. Revolution Radio does not endorse any commercial products, nor does it accept monetary compensation for on-air advertising of commercial products, nor will it ever. We are and shall remain 100% listener supported. Any product advertising on this program are considered used at higher risk, and Revolution Radio shall not be held liable for any claims or damages received from any product advertised within this program. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Most guys freeze. That's your cerebral cortex looking for an answer it doesn't have.
See? Even your brain knows you're screwed.
The body's filling with adrenaline right now, whether you know it or not. Your heart's beating fast. It's getting a little harder to breathe. The neurobiological system is telling it to run, but your knees are too weak to move.
Fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity. Do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. We are all telling ourselves a story.
You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. 100% listener-supported radio. Reporting.
Have you heard? Metro by T-Mobile now includes Amazon Prime. Yes, enjoy the best of shopping and entertainment, movies, TV shows, music, free shipping, and much more. All included for just $40 per line for 3 lines. All on the T-Mobile network. Discover the smarter way. Metro by T-Mobile. That's genius. One offer per account. Offer subject to change. $12.99 per month value. Offer valid for new Amazon Prime members. Metro customers may notice reduced speeds versus some T-Mobile customers. Video at 480p. Capable device required. See store for details and terms and conditions.